Hello, Blockchain Business Builders community. Today we're learning from the Niko Mandic at MVP workshops. Niko is sharing his whole sales process on the strategy level, but also on the very detailed level. What actions is he doing? Like, why is he successful? And because Niko is very experienced in Web3 BD, he has a very big background at building, managing communities of thousands of and tens of thousands of people, making raises, networking in Web3, and now moving the business forward with his network as a PT effort at MVP workshops, and they help build different projects. So it's a perfect match when you have a very nice network, when you have community management, when basically everything helps you to get opportunities for your new company. This is the perfect match. So we are learning from Nikolai today and starting the video right now. Welcome, Niko.
Hi, Niko. So thank you for the introduction, and I'm there today as your guest, and we'll be willing to answer all the questions that we had invited. So
amazing. Welcome to welcome to the Blockchain Business Builders. Every episode we start with the top 3 actionable takeaways, something that helps you to sell and will help all people that are listening right now to sell better. What are your top 3?
My top 3 is probably, let's start with the knowledge of technology, because when you are certain in what you are talking about when it comes to technology, you may came up with some creative ideas to sell the solution for the certain problem using the technology and not selling technology at all, because selling technology probably to the bigger clients and enterprises would end up in that they do not understand what you are talking about, and probably the deal will go off. So knowledge on how to put up the technology in some good looking package and deliver to the client.
Yeah, very nice word, package. So packaging the technology into understandable
like
benefits.
masking it, hiding the technology. And the second one would be the ecosystem engagement. I really think that in Web3, the business developers should put a more accent on connecting and engagement with a certain ecosystem, because they would know more about the technology behind the ecosystem. They will get a feeling of how to identify the opportunities in certain ecosystem and what would be the best person to connect in that ecosystem that may came up as your referral or a potential client in the future. So if you decide to jump into some ecosystem, it's always good to have some knowledge on that before. And the third one would be communication. We all use the communication as part of our outreach strategies or daily account management, etc., etc. But I would say that first of all, when we are doing the outreaches, in my opinion, we just need to be relaxed, and we should seek for expanding our network of Web3 friends. Let's call that so, and try to communicate with them that we are not selling, that we are just looking to introduce, that we are watching over their new updates about project, that we saw their pitch or attendance at conference, that we probably obtain some detail on what they are doing, and we highlight that. And after that, we try to mention and to relax them that we are just not coming up with the idea to sell an initial meeting, but to get known to each other. And after that, in next weeks and months, it's all about nurturing and communication, because if you communicate with someone well, you get a chance to show your expertise, to share your insights and ideas, to befriend that person, and probably to come up with some idea how you can potentially collaborate in future.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. Like, we have one of the community members. He just started recently in sales, and his outreach strategy was not to sell the thing, but to get in touch and learn more about people. So in his first week, like, think about this first week, never did a sales job before it, but was in community, was speaking with you, with other folks, with other members, and he booked, I guess, 13 meetings in the first week, which was like, dude, like, I wasn't booking like 10, 13 meetings in my first week.
Most of us do not book that much by now, after years of dealing with the business. It just depends if you are in B2B or B2C. Like in B2B, you manage to have a less more meetings.
B2B,
yeah, B2B, amazing. So I also started.
He just crushed it.
Amazing. I'm just impressed with his example, because I also have started from community building. I was building one of the hugest community in Balkan that was around Web3. It's called Web3 Balkan. That was like 3 years ago. And what made me to enter the corporative world in the Web3, to land a job in the companies, etc., was that I saw that by growing the community, I grew my network. I had a lot of opportunities arising. I was spending a lot of time communicating to that community, communicating with them about what have I found out that is new trends in Web3, how would I solve some certain problems, and how it ended up. It ended up that a lot of them was coming to me, oh, I have a project for you, you can resolve that, or my friend wants build that, or oh, my dad has a friend in some company that are seeking for help in that way. So if you are just communicating and you are good in what you are speaking of, I think that people will you will create an amazing inbound channel by that, and people will start coming toward you. And probably that's the end goal of sales, to just forget about outreach and make people come to you. That's what's like Google and big companies do. Probably Google won't send you an email to register on Gmail. You will do that alone. So that's how I see it.
So true. And as we're speaking about the seeing and the vision, what is your vision for bringing us as humanity to Mars, making us a polycosmic culture, or making sure like how Web3 is actually helping us to get there, to get on the other planets, to set a colony on Mars? What is your thought on that?
Oh, okay. I will try to be as short as I can in this answer. But in my opinion, and I will highlight that some of Russian scientists have came up with same idea like 50 years ago. So to go outside of the Earth and to colonize the Mars or Moon or whatever, I think that we should have perfect ecosystem on the Earth. We should stop fighting for resources, like the level of civilization, so go up, ascend, level up, however we want to call it. But I think that we need some sort of globalization here, and something that works perfectly, that it is totally transparent. And I think that maybe the blockchain and the things that are probably destroying the centralization and connecting all the dots into the network in every way would maybe allow us to create that on Earth, so we can focus more on space exploration and colonizations.
Yeah, and it's a very nice thing to do, to think in that way, because then you feel that it's not just about connecting with it's not just another day where it's not just another day in bear market, it's another day, and you have a more like you feel the purpose behind what you're doing, and actually we have a potential.
It's another day in bringing Elon and Dodge to the Mars. You know, his idea is
kind
to
of like
bring
that.
Dodge. No, I'm just joking.
Dodge and everything. Yeah, I understand.
Dodge will bring us to the Mars, probably. Okay.
Hopefully not. Okay. I'm starting the prospecting blog. What do you think about the prospecting? So when you're prospecting, do you prefer going cold or inbound? Or can you tell like the few tips for going inbound and few tips for going outbound in outreaching and creating a pipeline for yourself?
Okay, so probably in Web3, how we are prospecting clients, first it involves identifying, and we identify them by various channels, inbound and outbound, but probably we are conducting some sort of market researches. We are utilizing the communities and understanding what do they need, and trying to identify the specific audience that may be ideal customer for our company or your company, however. But it all come up with are we targeting enterprises or startups, or should, like, I would like to call it vertical and horizontal, because in vertical I would tell that I'm trying to put the things up like in the manner of the level of the company, number of employees, number of involvement in the certain market and technology. And on horizontal pipeline, I would say that it comes to the industry inside of industry. You know, like, is it DeFi or is it NFT? Is it maybe tokenization or something like that? So that's how we are like identifying target audience. And after that, we are trying to do research on the specific group of audience that we highlighted that would be maybe the best potential client for ourselves. We are conducting research. We are trying to find out and highlight the problems that they may encounter on their journey that we may be successfully been solving in the past. And after that, we are just dropping an initial email where we are seeking to explore more about their project and journey, to introduce what I was partially saying in question 1. And after that, my tactic is to try to discuss those certain things, pain points, roadblocks, call them whatever, on that initial call, like to ask them, oh, really, your project is amazing in that way, but how you have resolved the legal compliance part, in fact. And then they may see that you really know and understand the product, the problems around it, and maybe you have know-how to how to create road to overcome their problems and come up with something that would sound like a solution.
I understand it. Yeah, so it's basically you're getting the prospect and then you're showing them that you're an expert. You're like, hey, like we have seen this kind of companies in this stage for hundreds of times, and typically they have this and this kind of problem. Does this sound familiar to you? Or like, what do you think about this? And they're like, oh, actually, you know, point C is interesting. And then you can tell them more about this, and they're naturally gravitating towards you.
Yes, it's like, call it by one word, establishing as a trustworthy partner in the Web3 ecosystem, you know. Just try to share your knowledge with communities, on events, conferences, to leverage analytics to give market insights, to even write some crazy blog that may come up with solution on certain problem that company may come to, and maybe then send them this blog article via email. It's up to you to be creative, but I think that showing the expertise and selling you are not selling people, you are not selling hours, you are not selling money, numbers, whatever. You are selling the knowledge and knowledge sharing of the company and team you possess. Or that's one way, or in the other way, you are selling yourself and your background. If you are like in some industry for 30 years and you can like tell them, oh, okay, I have been working for one big company, second big company, you know, just mention them all, and they will see a trustworthy partner in you, even at least in domain of consulting, you know.
Yes. That's what I tell my clients, that I've been in Web3 for 30 years. And they just trust me.
Really? That's
although 30? I'm 20.
Oh, you are new. With 30 years, 30, you are new 30. To Web3. 50 would be optimal for me.
Yes, I understand. Okay. And how are you typically outreaching them? Is it just an email, or are you doing some kind of multi-channel? And how long, how many, like basically what is the timeline? When do you stop following people up? Because obviously not everybody gets back to you, and not everyone getting on the call with you. What's your strategy to that?
I would say that it depends, up to the clients, up to the how I see the certain opportunity and how much I would like to grab it for myself, you know. But let's say so that we are going for quality, not quantity, and that we are not seeking to say thousands of emails. We are trying to, let's say, send 20, 50, 100 at maximum per week. And after that, but in those emails, you will find out some extreme facts, crazy things about
super personalized.
Yeah, it's personalized in every manner. And after that, if they are not answering that email, probably I would go up with and follow up within 3 to 5 days in B2B. That would be the first one. And after that, maybe in 2 weeks. And that is where it usually ends. You know, after that, I probably assume that they are not reading it, not wanting to answer me, or just maybe are not interested in Web3 at all. You know, just they see it as some promotional mail, you know, and I just stop there. But sometimes when I identify that the opportunity is worthy, and maybe I can see that you have had tight schedule, like you went to one conference, second, third, like in next 2 months. I would maybe wait a little bit, maybe meet you somewhere in person on some conference if we are at the same place. And in the end, most probably 1 month after, try to send another follow-up where I would say like, I just don't want to rush you, just wanted to check is everything all right on your side, how is your product development going on. I would be interested to learn more things about certain things that we came up while researching. I saw that maybe this could help you, sending some article, etc., etc. So would find out the creative manner to come and try to engage in conversation again. And if I manage to get an answer, then cycle starts again. And probably I again start counting from 0 and first follow-up, second follow-up, etc., etc.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for sharing the details. This is important, and I feel that people in the community, they are learning, because I really like that you're explaining both the process and then the strategy and the logic behind all of this, and then it's like the steps that you need to make, and then also where it's leading you to. And once the person books the meeting with you, the first initial meeting, how do you handle this meeting? How do you qualify or disqualify the person? And what is your favorite question to ask on the first meeting? Or
Are
maybe
you
something
using
that you always
ChatGPT?
ask?
Are you using ChatGPT? I'm joking.
Me
Okay,
personally
let's
or them?
them. Them. It's meant for them because I really think the ChatGPT is an amazing tool, but that people started to use it for like everything. Probably, if you are going to shop and need to buy bread and coffee, you wouldn't think about what to buy, and you would just ask ChatGPT what my mama said me to buy. So
Mhm.
it's like that. We are maybe giving much credits to the ChatGPT and trying to use it as much for the things that we may be able to do by ourselves. And that would be better to do in that way because we are staying in shape. Our brain is staying in shape,
Yeah,
Like
because it
today,
a
if
little
you,
bit cuts your creativity.
yeah, because today, if you ask a certain person to write an email, they will not try to do that by themselves, even if it's simple email. They will by
Mhm.
let's say habit go to ChatGPT and write me an email, and after that they will just think of is it good, is it not, should I refine it, etc., etc. But I think that when it comes to the simple email, it would be easy for me to write it down by myself because I'm trying to be as short as possible in emails. I
Yeah.
do not like the emails. I even do not like the paragraphs that are more than 3 sentences, let's say, because when I see that it's ton of text, I just skip. I
Mhm.
just
Yes.
like to highlight the key factors and the key points of my email and to lead the person who is reading it to the journey,
Mhm.
in my head, I have the journey that he needs to pass while reading it, and I hope that he will do that in that way. And to jump back into the
Yeah,
discovery
I
call
understand you.
part, when
Mhm.
it comes to discovery call, the first, let's say, 5 minutes is we are coming up together, we are introducing ourselves, etc., who is coming from what company. Then it starts by ourselves. We are doing just a short intro, and then
Mhm.
leaving a huge time slot for them, whatever time is needed, to present themselves, to present a product where we are trying to probably seek the opportunity to ask right questions to highlight our expertise in that field. But
Mhm.
I'm always looking that the maximum for their side of presentations wouldn't be more than 10, 15, at maximum 20 minutes, because if you allow them to talk more than that, it should be probably something that's really, really huge and takes that time, or client is
Mhm. Yeah.
talking a bullshit, because then you need to know how to stop him in the peaceful way, to just change
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
change the
Yeah,
thematic
important skill.
into. Yeah, because it can lead in the wrong way. He can just drag you into the product, and you will start discussing with him the features. You will jump into the role of product manager and lose hours, and in the end, he will not look at you as a sales, as a development or sales partner or whatever. He will look at you as a guy who helped him to clarify and validate the idea, and just you do not want that you just want to befriend them, but to have a barrier between that you are just not the best friends, that you
Mhm.
are somehow like a partners. After the set of questions
Quick
that we
question.
prepare, mm-hmm, go on.
How do you how do you ask this in a nice and kind way so people are not offended, but you're actually keeping them on track? How do you bring them down to the goal where you need to lead them?
Okay, a good question, because it's depends on situation, but
Mhm.
I'm trying to
What are
listen to
the
them.
main things? Yeah.
Yeah, I try to identify the certain points about the topics that we are covering. Let's say the product A that they are developing, and
Mhm.
I know that he will tell me a little about tech stack, a little about infrastructure, about the users, the prices, etc., etc. But when I feel that he is crossing over the line of selling me technology and talking me about of technology, I would wait a bit, tell him, jump in to tell a little bit more. to show him that I really know that, to lead him to tell me, yes, I agree. And after that, I would come up with question, okay, and what about your prices, or what about user persona, whatever I think is right question to ask at that moment, to just skip on the next point on my list of guiding the meeting. But just trying to share the knowledge and the expertise, and leading him to just have nothing to add to what I have said, to maybe create a little space of silence, couple seconds, and then say, okay, let's go to that. Can you tell me about pricing or something like that? That would be of interest to me in the certain moment.
Makes sense. And let's bring our prospect. What do you mean?
I just asked, how do you resolve that?
How do I resolve that? I just listen, and then when I feel that they need to be interrupted, I just say something that, hey, and they are like paying attention. And then when they're paying attention, I can just tell them, hey, what about this? This was very interesting. So firstly, you need to confirm that what they were saying is relevant, because it is relevant. They're giving you details. Maybe it's just too much details, and maybe too much details on what I don't want to learn about right now. So you can just confirm that was very interesting, and then you drag them to the thing that is interesting for you, but you don't insist on it. You're like, you confirm, and then you're like, yeah, and what about this and this about? So just make it very easy and very clear. And that's how I do it. Wanted to ask you about when you have this prospect and they had a first call with you, how do you control the deal? So you need to get them from point A to point B, but a lot of people are failing after their first call. They don't set clear next steps, and they don't have any clear expectations, and then the prospect just disappears in the woods. What is your way for managing and controlling the deal and making sure that it's moving forward with your help and you are the one who knows what's happening?
Absolutely, good question. So I'll try to answer in best way, because it's something that is, in my case, really, really good point, and a lot of people are skipping on that. But on the initial call, I always like to define the so-called next steps with client, even if it is, okay, can you send me your presentation over after we finish the meeting or something like that, just to create space to broaden the conversation. Maybe I can come up with some additional questions, or if it's a requirement that's coming toward me, I'll probably send the services there after a couple of days or something like that, and then get some questions from their side. Or if it's like a warm lead, probably it would be an offer that we have managed to scope in a couple of days. So I'm trying to define those next steps with the client at the initial call. And about the expectations, I do not have that problem, because when we are conducting the initial phase of research that we have been talking about earlier, we are setting the set of expectations in that phase. And after that, like based on that expectations, we choose, let's say, 100 leads that we will process. But on the calls, probably I never have expectations at all, because you never know how it will go with the people. Probably I had situations where everything was seeming all right, and then people just start ghosting you, and probably in some cases the people who were not responsive at first are coming up with email after a couple of weeks and saying, oh, sorry for the radio pause, we had some internal affairs, we had to change CEO, CTO, whatever. And like it really depends on people, but what you can do from your side is always try to define the next steps with your leader, client, or whatever. And probably it's not always up to you, probably somehow and sometimes it would be up to the other side, because there is no deal if both sides are not willing to cooperate, But I think that you should just...
There is even no deal if one side doesn't want to cooperate.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would just say that what can increase your conversion and lead you to put up a deal on more often is that you wouldn't let the other side, or your prospect, lead, client, whatever, to dictate the tempo and the emergency of you coming back with certain answers. You just need to be one who is defining the timeline and the time frame for certain activities, because it would give you a proper amount of time to prepare what you have to prepare, and to really make sure that you would accomplish this. Because in my opinion, it's better to tell me, okay, Niko, I will send you services that via email in 3 days, even if it is 5 minutes of time. Then tell me I will send it over as soon as we finish the meeting, and then you don't send it and send it after 5 days, and like in time between, I'm thinking, okay, this guy just dropped me off, So
Yeah.
probably defining the timelines of activities by yourself is important. And probably if you are not managing to do something, then communicating that in the right way is also important to keep the communication on. Probably just tell them, okay, this time wouldn't work for me. Can we propose new time? Just engaging in conversation with them, so you do not lose flow. Probably sometimes leading them to the other channel that is more responsive, like maybe Telegram groups would function in some situations better than email, because some people are more often willing to answer a phone message than typing an email. They have a weekly or daily time slot where they sit down to the computer and answer all the emails, but they are more responsible with cell phones. So it would be best to identify those things and try to like put them up onto some list and lead them to that list.
Amazing insights. Thank you, Niko. Unfortunately, we were on time, but it was very interesting to listen to you and get all the feedback. Thank you for joining the show, and we will do a short recap in a minute.
Okay.
Whew. Nice.
So we are taking a break.
Nice. So a short recap of our meeting with Niko Mandic. First thing, the quality of your sales process lays in the first phase, which is even not contacting the prospect. It's before contacting the prospect. It's in your research. Do the research on your lead list. Do the research on the companies, on the persona that you're speaking with, and then you will have no surprises down the line. Second thing, when you start speaking with people, when you start sending them outreach, don't be salesy. Just think about what they're doing and sell from the approach of an expert. So first thing, you are not interested to sell them anything. You're interested in how they're doing, how their company is evolving. You're interested in challenges that you're having, because you have already seen 100 companies that have been and having these same challenges, and you already helped thousands of companies and hundreds of companies to overcome those challenges. So you're coming from the side of an expert, where you're just curious if they are having same problems, and maybe there is a fit where you can help. And then the last thing is, when you are down the line in the process, always have clear next steps set up with the prospect, because next steps is the things that are helping to move the deal forward, and you want to make sure that your client knows about them, you know about them, and you're going towards together the shared goal. So hope this video was very interesting for you. It was very actionable, very insightful from the strategy and from the actual trenches level where you go and do the stuff. So I would recommend you to go and reach out to Niko, get in touch with him. Maybe it's something he is very open for connecting with new people, learn more from him. And if you want to get more and learn more sales content like that and get 80 more Nikos, you can join the Blockchain Business Builders community, because we already have 85 members where everybody's sharing different information. It's a full community for growing business together, for growing Web3 BD together, and this is the right place for you if you're Web3 BD and you want to grow, you want to learn, you want to improve your skills. Welcome, guys. My name is Nikolai, also Nikolai actually, and see you in the next video. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye-bye.